Hello and welcome to Let Me Be Your Game Guide. This is a little bonus episode about a little demo games. Join us as we preview games and share our first impressions for the remainder of this episode. Let me be your demo guide. Welcome back to 12 Days of Demos. Day number 3, 3 French hens.
Boo, 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 boo. That's what French friends
says. Is that true? I know in French class I learned that like the noises that animals make, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know what a French hen is. I mean, a hen from France? I don't know.
A hen from France. That's actually so fitting because the developers of my demo are from France.
Oh man. We planned this totally.
Yeah. I'm doing the demo today. It's my demo day.
Yeah.
And
Tell us about your French hen.
did Cleromancy. And Cleromancy is a game that was developed and published by Studio on... and it's French. They're French, so I'm going to try and say all these French words.
Oh.
I looked it up. Ha ha.
Oh, oui, oui.
Oh la la.
It's Indefini, Studio Indefini, and this is their first game. And I have the list of people that are working on this game right now. It's not out yet. It doesn't even have a release date, so it's just TBA. And the demo was very much a demo. I'm sure that they're adding a ton to this game. So just to mention the names, and I'll link the names in the show notes. I've got all their Twitters, but there is Rémi Massart. It's the throat.
Oh, yeah,
it's the throat noise. I don't know if it
That
was
was authentic.
Massart? It's bad. Massart. To say it in an American way. I'm so sorry, Rémi. Pierre-Antoine Locatelli, Paul Meunier, Bryan Vigée, Thibault Lassou, Elizabeth Savre, Martin Robic, and Simon Cadillac. I know.
All-star lineup right there.
Yes. With the Cadillac? Come on.
I know. It's such a cool last name. I tried so hard, but French, I even took French in college, and the like sound, the like throat sounds, I'm sure that was great to listen to as a podcast. But I'm just going to describe the game. So the demo starts out, well, I guess Cleromancy is a turn-based dice rolling roguelike game with a really unique art style. It's almost like a pencil drawing, or it's got color, but it's very, the art style is very drawn, like pencil drawn, but or like colored pencil drawn. I don't know how to describe it. It's beautiful. I thought it was a really cool art style. You basically play as a robot called Sid 815, and in the very beginning of the game, it's like you live in this city up in the sky, but something hits the city and knocks you out of it with another humanoid named Roxanne. And then the game opens up. There's very little explanation or tutorials on what to do, but you run into this woman who gives you these dice. And the robot's like, no, I have to go figure out how to get us back to the sky. I need to go start collecting materials. And Roxanne is like, oh, well, I'll talk to you for a little bit. But you're playing as the robot and you have the dice. And basically you traverse this map kind of like a board game. It's just like you start at a spot and then you go to the next spot. And each spot is either a battle, like a combat spot, or it's almost like a choose your own adventure type spot. So you get there and it'll be like, there's a box of gems and it's ... And then you can choose like spilling everywhere, miraculously intact, or being taken by a robot or whatever.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so you can kind of, as you play, guess what your choices are going to result in. So like if there's a robot that's taking them and you choose that, it might turn into combat. If they're spilling all over, you might take some. If they're miraculously intact, you might leave it alone. So it kind of just gives you options. And then
That's super neat. That's like you're not reacting to the story, you are creating the story.
Yeah.
As you go. That's interesting.
yeah, and so depending on your choices, sometimes you'll gain, there's like flowers and gems and different things that you can earn. And then on some spots, you'll run into NPCs, and these NPCs will upgrade your dice or sell you potions so you can heal. And you use the things that you're collecting to kind of trade. So the dice, it's a little complicated because there's different materials of dice and there's different inking of dice. So the materials have different benefits and the inks have different benefits. So
that's interesting.
yeah, so you want to collect different dice depending on the types of actions that you have to use in combat. Because when you're in combat, to use an action, it'll say you have to have a D8 or higher to use this action. And you only randomly grab a certain number of dice from your bag. So you don't have access to all your dice at the same time. So there might be something like you randomly draw all your D4s at once and you only have one action that can take D4s. And different actions will get bonuses if you use certain dice types. So if you use a metallic dice with this action, maybe it'll give you a +1 because this action is better with that material. It's a lot of strategy. There's a ton of strategy in making sure you're using your dice in the right order.
So are your actions like ones that your character always has access to, but then it's your dice that determine what you can do that turn?
Yeah, so you always have and there's attack actions, there's spell actions, and then there's maneuvers. And again, there wasn't a lot of tutorial on this, so I was still trying to figure out how everything works. But when you're in combat, it's turn-based. And every round, the order that people go in shuffles. It's like randomized every round. And kind of like D&D, you have like an armor class. You have will, which is if someone casts a spell, instead of going against your AC, they're going against your will. And they have to get that number or higher to hit. You also have resilience points, which reload each round. So if your character has 5 resilience points, when an enemy attacks you, they have to hit all 5 of those points before they take any of your actual health. So it's kind of like in a round, if there's multiple enemies, the first enemy can get all your resilience points down. And then the next enemy, when they attack, since you don't have any resilience points, then they'll be chipping away at your HP. And the enemies are like this too. So it took me a while to figure it out because they do have like a tutorial page, but you read through it and there's just like so much that you still need to learn. And I don't know if I'm doing a very good job explaining this.
No, I feel like I kind of understand. So it sounds like a lot of other roguelikes, like it's kind of like Slay the Spire almost, but instead of like cards, you have the dice.
Yeah.
Like is your ultimate goal, like is there a story? Or is it you're just trying to like get to an ultimate boss, or do you know?
The story right now is that you're just trying to traverse through this area to get different parts so you can get back to your world in the sky. That's as much as I know, but there wasn't a lot of story. I also got to a point where I picked up another character.
Oh.
So then I have my original character and then like another little character that just starts following me around that has more spell actions. And so then you can act as both the characters in their turns.
Can you change their dice too, or is it just...
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, so the dice you use for your team, it's for everyone.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I'll read here. I have like, so you have wooden, metallic, and crystalline dice. And so like a metallic dice can't get caught on fire. So there's like some attacks from enemies, there's a chance that it'll catch your dice on fire. And so if one of your die is on fire, if you use it, then you'll take damage to use that dice. So you also have attacks that can kind of affect the enemy's dice. So if they get in a pinch where they have to use a certain die and you've either cursed it or poisoned it or lit it on fire, then they'll take some sort of negativity to use it.
Yeah.
You can also have your dice imprisoned, which I don't really understand that part at all, because there was an action that I could do to imprison my own dice. So I guess maybe if I had a bunch of D4s, but I didn't have any actions that use D4s, I could imprison my D4s on purpose so they don't go back into the draw bag. That's the only way I could see why imprisoning would be a good thing. But yeah, so it was very strategic combat. You also, I mean, all of your attacks, they do different amounts of damage and they can affect multiple people. But like if you have an attack that can either target 2 or 3 people and there's only one target, you can't use that attack.
Oh, interesting.
So you can get into a pinch where you only have dice for an attack that you can't use. So you either need to use a different, like just use your turn to draw a new dice, or was
it, you said it's like pretty like strategic, like was it challenging?
So it was easy until I got to this boss where I was fighting 3 guys at the same time, and it was 2 kind of broken down robots and then this other like ghoulish, like I don't even know how to describe it, but the way that combat works is if you have 3 enemies, you have to attack the enemy that's closest to you unless you're attacking more than one. But if you're only attacking one enemy, you can't attack the enemy in the back. So you have to work front to back when you're killing enemies.
Got it.
And so the toughest enemy is in the back. I would use my turn to get both the robots down, but then it would be this third big boss's turn. And they have powers that they can bring back enemies.
Gosh, yeah.
So I was getting to this point where I was just like, I was taking damage and I just couldn't destroy enough enemies to get to, it was so frustrating.
Okay, so like the roguelike aspects, when you die, do you know, like, do you have upgrades for the future? Do you unlock things as you go?
So I did get to a certain point where I was kind of leveling up, and basically you sacrifice a die, and depending on the like value of that die, if it's like a good one or if it's inked, you can increase your health and your armor class and your will. Mm-hmm. And so you do kind of level up in that way, and then you get more actions. And so you can also collect actions for your characters and swap them out for certain battles. So you can kind of like change out which actions you have to use during a battle. But when I died, it sent me to the home screen. So I just had to start over.
Man.
Which, I don't know if that's demo or if that is how it actually would be. I could see it being like that.
If it's like a roguelike, then it very well could be, but
I don't know if it saves, like, you have to start over, but you kind of save some things that you've collected. Mm-hmm. It was hard. I wasn't able to tell, but it was super fun. I'm really excited to see where it goes once they get closer to release, because I think this game has a lot of potential. It's a very slow game. It's not, it's very strategic. You have to, and luck based with your dice rolls and stuff like that. So it can be kind of frustrating, but I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was just looking at it on Steam. It's kind of hard to Google, but you'll post it in the notes. The art is really nice on it. Like, I want to give this a shot.
Yeah, the art's beautiful, and I can say, let's see here. So, and their website, I'm going to link their website too, because the way that they, their little like about us page is so cute. They have, so like Elizabeth Savre, I'm so sorry if I'm saying that wrong. She's the master pencil. And so she did the art. Oh. Martin Robique is the cartoon breeder. Thibaut Lassou is the dev guru. They just gave themselves like kind of goofy names for what their job was. So it seems like they're just a fun, goofy group of people that are just having a good time. This is their first game that they're developing, and
that's awesome. Good
Very cool.
Yeah.
I want to see Cartoon Breeder on a business card.
And I think on the website they do have for the robot character the like kind of the concept art to where it ended up going. They have like a few slides that you can swipe through to look at. So
Cool.
yeah. So that is Cleromancy with a release date of TBA.
Oh,
Man, hopefully soon.
it sounds like
Yeah.
you could just play that demo over and over again, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was a good time.
Join us tomorrow for the next demo of 12 Days of Demos. Give the podcast 5 stars if you liked what you heard. You can email us with any comments, questions, or constructive criticism at letmebeyourgg@gmail.com. You can also send us any game requests if there is something you would like us to review. You can find us on Instagram at letmebeyourgg, and our Patreon can be found at patreon.com/letmebeyourgg. Thank you for listening. We can't wait to see you tomorrow, and thank you so much for letting me be your demo guide. GG, y'all.
Bye.